Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to discuss a very old concept of circumambulation, which describes a pattern we all follow throughout life. And it's relevant to our own development, to our ego development, personality development. So this idea of circumambulation has been present in humanity for ages. It's been familiar to various religions, ancient cultures that have been developing some sort of rituals around this idea of a spiral or a circle. Even Carl Jung was talking about this idea of circling the self, circumambulating the self that we all go throughout our lifetime. So it could be something that's happening to us in the background, something that's happening in our unconscious mind, or something that we might be practicing rather consciously. So on a more practical note, I think this pattern of circumambulation or a spiral can be evident when you start reflecting on the recurring challenges or recurring problems in your life. So if you look at your life, let's say 10, 20 years ago, you might already notice that there are challenges similar to what you're going through right now. They might not be exactly the same ones, in a way that, they might not be presenting themselves in exactly the same way as they used to, but you can see from your past that the various seeds of the challenges or of the kind of patterns that you might be experiencing in the future. And this pathway of I like to call it a spiral because it's a little bit more practical, but either way, it resembles a circle. So through this pathway, we get closer and closer to this idea of a true self, to this archetype of wholeness, of truth, and authenticity or consciousness itself. But we never reach it. So through this pathway of circumambulating the self, we might be going through similar challenges. Shedding this kind of layers of various false selves or ideas that we might have adopted from the society or other people, which we completely disagree with. So as we're shedding these layers, we might be going towards the center, and at that center is the self itself, the light of the consciousness, as you might call it. So when it comes to practicalities and how we might use this idea of circumambulation, I think it's worth to reflect on how we change over time, how our perspective changes on who we are right now, what sort of challenges or problems we might be facing in our lives. And once we reflect on that, it's quite possible to notice that we're doing the same things over and over again, in a sense. So no matter how much we try to change, no matter how much novelty we try to introduce to our lives, we will find ourselves in exactly the same spot we've been before. The only thing that changes is our understanding, our perspective, or a simply, interpretation of our experience. So as we're going through life, we, of course, acquire new experiences, new knowledge. We kind of expand our understanding and awareness, of course, of what is happening. So we become more and more aware of things that are around us or things that we might be experiencing. And as we're acquiring that, once we meet the kind of the next checkpoint, if you like, on this journey of various cycles, even though we might be in exactly the same spot we were before, the experience of that will be quite different because of this, newly acquired experiences and understandings. So this is the very ideal scenario where, someone is paying attention to this kind of patterns throughout their lives. But what if someone doesn't pay attention? What if someone, is super focused on the material reality kind of thing, or the social games, all this kind of practices that we all need to engage in to some extent? Well, I think what happens to such individual who lacks awareness, who doesn't spend as much time on self-reflection, is that they will, keep doing the same things over and over again without having any kind of, previous recollection or a memory to what might have been happening before. So this is very, very challenging process, because how do you remember every single challenge or every single problem that has been present in your life before, has been maybe overcome by yourself, right? How do you remember every single kind of new understanding that you acquired before, right? So this kind of ideas of maybe, relapses of memories or kind of amnesia, I think, this can be solved to some extent with maybe journaling, but like how much can you journal? And are you gonna, read your journals 10 years from 10 years before today, for example? So the solution to that, if that even exists, I think can be found in some religions. For example, Buddhists, when they describe the process of reincarnation or karma, they might be referring to actually what we're going through throughout our physical lifetimes. So what we've been doing before, how did we perform? How did we face our challenges? Did we learn our lessons? Or do we have some sort of karma that we need to resolve? So karma would be, in my opinion, I think, this is just speculating and brainstorming, but karma could be something that is a result of unfinished lessons or unlearned lessons that we haven't fully processed. So karma is this recurring pattern in our lives that refers to maybe something that we haven't fully solved, fully understood. So I think it ties in wonderfully with this idea of circumambulation, because it shows this pattern of forgetfulness, of imperfections of our memories, and that we might be doing, without any kind of conscious awareness, but we might be doing the same things over and over again without fully recollecting that we already, overcame this kind of challenge, or we've been in this kind of place before. So when I refer to this recurring pattern, it doesn't mean on this more physical level, just to clarify, but more on the experiential level, more when it comes to the state of our mind, state of our emotional well-being. So this sort of recurring pattern refers to, having similar kind of experience of life around us. So this is my short take on circumambulation, a little brainstorming session. I hope you found it thought-provoking. I hope you will take some time and go do a little bit more research on this concept that could help you clarify your own developmental pathway, your own developmental journey, and of course help you to remember in the future or pay attention to recurring themes and patterns in your life. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.